So first, congratulations on your film directorial debut. I know you've
Thank
done
you.
TV series
Yeah.
for the House of Lies and everything, but tell me about. I mean, I've read about it, but tell me why that was important in portraying Miles Davis' character for you to do, for
Everything?
you to direct and do everything. Yeah.
Well, I kind of, to be honest, I tried to give that role away a few years ago because I, trying to look down the line, thought this is going to be impossible. You know, it's too many things to do.
Yeah.
And I interviewed several directors for the role, for the job rather, and all of them to a person said, "But this is yours. You know,
Yeah.
you need to do this." I'm like, "Yeah, but I'm trying to survive it." They
Mm-hmm.
said, "Well,
Yeah.
do your push-ups, but you know, this is yours to bring to life." And
Yeah.
ultimately, I'm glad that I came back to seeing it that way too.
I know it was a process with the financing and going through the directors but do you think that helped the story form into the way it was like after that process and the budgets and everything? Do you think that
Absolutely,
made the story?
absolutely. You know, the having to keep coming back to reducing the budget from something south of 20 to 15 to 14 to 13 to 12, 10, and these were steps that we took all along the way, trying to finally get someone to say yes and get a green light and get that money started. But it forced us to get very specific and really tight and lean and contract that thing to where it was its most potent. Right. And I think that happened over the course of time that, we didn't cut off limbs, but we were cutting, fingertips really, really tight and getting it down to where it was just lean and mean, and we were able finally to get the money to do it.
With all of the recent biopics that's come out, like, why was it important for this to be stylized different? You think the audience were experiencing biopic fatigue or something?
I knew I was. It's nothing that I was looking to do. And had it not been announced that I was going to do it by his nephew,
would it have been Chad Boseman?
I don't know who it would have been, but it may have been in a different form.
Yeah.
And I thought, maybe you can do that with some people, but for me, it felt like an affront to do that with Miles Davis. Because nothing about Miles Davis, is, when I think about him, is conventional or straight ahead or easily fit into a box. Right. I said, I think this movie has to feel like a Miles Davis experience. It has to be inventive and innovative and crazy and gangster and like a heist movie and feel like jazz and feel like that expression. So it just felt anathema to do it in that other way that we know all too well.
Right.
That's in the forte, see, like we're coming
that's
in.
Right.
So.
That's right, and I wanted to sting it, hit it, and really take it off. Then they got a glissando. Oh yeah, man. Y'all listening to them? This is how this shit's supposed to sound.
Hold that over to the next measure.
Hold that over the measure. Yeah, and then let it resolve.
Let it groove.
Yeah, let it groove. We should get him back in.
Let's do it.
Let's get him back
Thanks, man.
Tim, record this.
All right, guys, you're on rehearsal. Take 3.
Y'all, let's be musical about this shit. Be wrong, strong, okay? Otherwise, lay the fuck out. Let's go, Gil. Count it off.
1, 2, 1, 2.
I know some recent biopics on musicians, like the Jimi Hendrix recent movie, had problems getting rights to the music and everything. And since you had the Davis estate behind you, did you have the whole catalog of Miles Davis to work with as far as music? And
we had all that they owned, which is not the entire catalog. There's some that predates the period that they have, and there's some that comes after the period that they have that are owned by different entities, different parts of Miles' family, in fact. But we had a pretty good ability to get licensing from those other places, working with the family, that they could, reach out and talk to those other players and get us all kinds of music that we wouldn't have been able to get on our own.
Was it important that you picked like different music from different albums to tell the story. Like, how did you kind of was in directing? Was that part of your design to say, all right, we're gonna do this to work with the score? I guess for the music.
Yeah, well, I know when I listen to Miles Davis music, it's cinematic. It feels like it's already made to put into a movie and to be score and to be source and to be these interstitial moments, these cues that we have. His music's just lined up like that. So it wasn't difficult to find something from Bitches Blue or the Jack Johnson or the Bootlegs or So What or kind of, Sketches of Spain, and it just felt like it worked perfectly with the scene. Now, we didn't always have, because a lot of times Miles, you'd say something and have Miles' name on it. We go, oh, we can use it. It's Miles Davis' song. You're like, well, Miles Davis' name is on it, but that's not actually his song. So often we had to deal with different entities and different publishing, constraints. But at the end of the day, we were able to use, as you said, a vast array of his music, and I think it all really tells the story in a way that makes it feel like it's a movie, as opposed to let's make sure we get something off of this and make sure we get something off of that, so people know that we know he did that. I'm like, who cares? What does that matter?
In writing the script, I mean, did you start with this theme of we're going to start with this interview? Was the interview always a part of your conception of it?
Yeah, it was always how we wanted to construct that and have it kind of bookended with this person trying to put Miles on the record and say how he's going to lay his life out, and Miles saying, no, I'm going to lay my life out. Right. I'm going to tell you how I'm going to do that, and put his horn to his lips and play it. Yeah, that was always the conceit.
I know that music today gets a hard time. I guess music in every generation kind of got a hard time by previous generations. But when you look at the artistry and the genius of Miles Davis, where it was like, oh, do this F sharp here, or the -7 thing that I didn't even understand. Yeah. I mean, do you think when you look at our musical artists today that
they get that?
Do they get that? Like, if Lil Wayne, could he be like, no, that's an F sharp?
He might be able to hear it. He may not be able to articulate exactly what it is, but Errol Garner, one of the greatest pianists that's ever lived, couldn't read music. So it's not necessary for you to have that specific training and that language and understand the theory in those ways to have an ability to create it. Yeah. It definitely helps, and it helps you to communicate to other people who speak that same language. But you look at somebody like Kendrick Lamar, and you know that whether he can tell you B flat major or F sharp minor or whatever, he understands music. And he clearly has a connection with how the music that came before is supporting and helping push him forward to where he wants to go. Kamasi Washington, Robert Glasper, who composed our movie, worked on To Pimp a Butterfly. Yeah. These guys are all the vanguard and all the new cats that are doing it. And Herbie, Hancock, very publicly said, thank you guys for carrying the torch. So music's in a good place, you know. Music's in a good place, and I was very fortunate to work with a lot of those cats that are tasked themselves with, holding the vessel and carrying it on.
And last question, and 94 pages, such a tight script, like how much leeway did you get in production for anything to go wrong?
There was, at the end we have a 100-minute movie, and the first assembly of our movie was 104 minutes. So that should let you know that there was no fat. We didn't shoot. There's one scene that we shot that's not in the movie, and that scene is 28 seconds long. So there's 28 seconds that we shot that we did not put in the movie. So we were very, very disciplined and slavish to what we had to be as far as our financial limitations and the schedule limitations and the limitations of Cincinnati in order to do what we needed to do.
Great movie, man. Great for music and everything.
Thank you, man.